All right, folks, welcome back to Adobe Live. I hope everyone is doing wonderful this Monday morning, or Tuesday, or wherever you're at, wherever you are, present or future, I should say. Watch her in the window. I'm scared, Val. I told you, folks, it was gonna get spookier and spookier. I'm very excited. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Voodoo Val. I'm going to be your host and instructor yet again for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. We're going to get a little creepy today, which I'm very excited about. Last week, what we did for the Photoshop DCC is we did a bunch of different challenges to create spooky effects with things. But as I promised, this week is going to be more of a continuous kind of challenge where we are going to be working with the same images each day, doing different spooky things, and then on the final day, which is going to be Friday, we are going to kind of use what we have learned through these 2 weeks to create like a whole project out of all of those different elements, and I'm very excited. Caps lock is on. Honestly, like I said, it's a spooky Monday. Caps locks may or may not be necessary. I have been warned that my caps lock button has been duct taped down for the last 5 days. As soon as it hits October, that's just when it happens. So Anthony Sims, welcome in. Jennifer, Noor, Murray, Janice, Brad, Sam, Stone. It is so good to see all of you folks. If you're over on the YouTube channel, please come over to behance.net/live because that is where I'm going to be reading the chat. It's where all of our free resources and helpful links and things are going to be posted throughout the day, and it's where the party's happening. So if you would like to join the party, that's where you will need to be. Valdera, it's good to see you. Welcome in, my friend. Hello, Matt. All right, so we're going to jump in to how you can get involved in our challenge for today, and then we're going to dive into all of the spooky content. Yes, Spooky Monday. All right, so I'm going to head over real quick to behance.net/challenge/Photoshop. This is the landing page for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. You'll know that you are in the right place on the proper landing page if you see that Photoshop icon at the top and you see the date range of September 28th through October 9th, because that is the date range that we are teaching these 2 weeks. If you see a different date, please make sure that you have the correct URL. You may be looking at past challenges. Atif, it's good to see you. Malik, welcome in. Darina, welcome back. Ralph, it's good to see you. Biola, Marcia, thank you all so much for joining me. Did I hear party? You did! Spooky party! All right, so if you scroll down here, you can hit this big blue button to get notified every morning when these challenges go live through the Creative Cloud app. You'll get a little 1 through 4 here of how you can get started with me, basically explaining what the challenge, like how it flows, what you can expect. So every day you receive a challenge. We've done 4 challenges thus far. If you scroll down here, you can see we did ethereal objects, we created a magic potion, we designed crystal balls, which was really fun, and then finally on the very last day of last week, on Friday, we did a smoky words challenge, and today, as some of you already have mentioned, is the Watcher in the Window challenge. So we're going to get into some spooky haunted house stuff. This week I'm calling it the Hillside Manor. So we are going to be diving into that, and it says create a shadowy window silhouette using shapes, images, and textures. And there is a kind of a bonus challenge in the middle of this challenge as well, because we are working with a super spooky nighttime picture of a mansion, or like a hillside manor, basically, but it didn't start out that way. I had to make my image look as if it was a photograph taken at night, because that's what I needed for this challenge. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that before I put our watcher in the window. Last but not least, before we jump into the challenge, I do want to highlight you folks in the Discord. So if you have not joined the Discord, this is the link. It's bit.ly/ps Discord. You want to make sure that P and S are capitalized, because it may send you to the wrong server if you don't. But if you hook that up, this is where you will come to. Let me pull up my Discord. and we're going to look through some of these challenges because I am very, very pleased with them. So over here, this is what our Discord looks like. There's a lot of different things in here for you folks to find, but in the, let me scroll here, in the current challenge tab, that is where everyone is posting their current entries for this round of challenges, and there have been so many that look so fabulous. We got this one from Julia here. It says, I used a bit of grain and blur to soften the glass to match better with the scene and photo, but it still seemed to stand out too much. Then I added a warm photo filter in peach color to the glass, and I think it integrates better. I do honestly. Because I think that it's a very subtle change. If you look at that, this is very silvery, and it has a lot of gray tones in it compared to the image that you've chosen. It still looks good, it still looks great, but with that filter over the top of it, with it having those warm tones, the glass does stand out a bit, but with just a very subtle hint of that background color, it looks really, really wonderful. So I think that you have done a fabulous job, Julia. Thank you so much for participating. We've got this one from Majesty. This is what we were working on, our smoke text, and I love that you have added some of your own like foggy smoke into the corners to give it a little bit of atmosphere. I would say that you may be able to improve the readability of the phrase behind you, which I love that you've chosen that. It's very scary. I think you could improve the visibility on it, however, if you made sure that the text was either slightly brighter in certain places, or put it in the forefront of the scene. Just make sure the text is brought to the foreground, and you can still overlap a little bit of smoke too, just to kind of give it a little bit of extra depth. But I would make sure maybe that wherever the smoke is overlapping those letters, that there is a nice transparency going on with it, because I think that I would like to see this in a little bit more here, and maybe this Y here in the word you, because the word you is a little dark. However, I love the atmosphere. I love what you have done. I would love to know how you got these awesome little strips and strands of smoke here, because those look really cool, and I would like to try that technique even just for myself for other projects, because that looks really neat. So thank you, Majesty. This one, Mercurial, you've outdone yourself with the meow. I, I was thinking people were gonna choose like terrifying words, like spooky stuff for this challenge, and we have this smoking cat like in the side of the smoke here, and then meow, and I think that it is perfect. I think it is on brand for the kind of humor and the kind of fun that we love to have here during this challenge, and I love it. So well done to Mercurial. We have Wendy, who has created the crystal ball effect here, and it's looking good. I like that you made your crystal ball like quite large, and then added the scene in so that we see more of the mountains and the trees. I think for mine, I made it much smaller and put more of the forest in there. But I really like the way that you have done yours here. I think that that looks really cool. I love the shine that you have going over the top of it, with that effect that we did during the class. And I think that especially around the edges, it really has that kind of magnifying glass look to it, which is really cool. So very well done. I can't go through all of these right now, but I will go through more of them today. I'm going to scroll through and just kind of show all of these really awesome ones. This is really cool, Tanika. That we have done, and then we're going to jump into our spooky challenge, because we need to make sure that we have enough time to get through this. So if you went to the landing page for the challenge, you will be able to download this challenge number 5 starter file that I've created for you. In fact, I'm going to pull up the landing page one last time and show you. You can hit this get started button that is on the watcher in the window challenge tile, and hit that. You'll be able to download the starter file, and then if you need to, you can also come back and hit watch video so that you can rewatch this stream and watch me go through everything. Nora's singing the Jaws theme in the chat, which I am a-okay with. This is great. Knowing mine was right above that last one and get skipped. Oh no, Christina, was it really? That happens sometimes. Where is my Discord? Where's my Discord? Was it right here? Hold on. Did I scroll past it already? Because these are pretty great. I'll do a little more scrolling because I know there's so many in here. This is, wow, this is like a huge, huge scene from Vicky. So there's a little bit more. I know that feeling. But thank you all. Thank you all so much. I'm going to jump in here and take a look at a few more later on, but we do need to get into our challenge. So the first thing that I'm going to go over is the image credit from Aubrey Udom, who I have gotten this image from, of our spooky house. Now it is like a dark, scary kind of nighttime scene here, but like I said before, this is not how it started out. So I'm going to go over an interesting method for taking an image and making it look as if it is a nighttime image versus daytime image, so that if you folks want to use your own image of a house and not this image that I have prepared for you, you can edit it yourself and get the same kind of vibe and look that we're going for this challenge. Oh, it's down more. I'm sorry, Christina. I tried. First time here, Peter Steele, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. We are about to begin our daily creative challenge. So I am going to hide the layers that I have in here. And this is my starting image. This is my house. This is my creepy, my creepy manor that I have. And what I did to this to create this sort of effect is, first of all, I'm going to select my manor and I'm going to kind of desaturate this a little bit, because when I add some filters to this, I want to make sure that it really looks like how it would appear if it were nighttime. And one of the things that some people don't take into consideration is that you can't just add like a blue filter over the top. You do have to suck some of that saturation out a little bit because it doesn't have that brightness to it in the daylight that it would have if the sun was actually up. And since we're creating a night scene, we need to make sure we keep that in mind. So I've done hue and saturation with Control U, and I've cranked down that saturation a little bit. I'm going to say okay. And then the next thing that I am going to do is I'm going to add a photo filter. So I'm hitting this button at the bottom here that opens my adjustments. And I am going to go to photo filter. And there's a lot of different cool things here that you can do. I'm going to crank this up real quick because I want to make sure that I can see a lot of the effect. And I'm going to look through some of the blue filters. Now, you folks can go through all of these filters and check out what you want. There's a lot of cooling filters and things that could be interesting to use for this, but there is this blue filter that I kind of like, and then there's also like an underwater and then another blue down here. It's really up to you which one you'd like to choose, but I think I'm going to grab this blue and I'm going to come into my color here and I'm going to select kind of a darker desaturated color, like so. I kind of like this. It kind of makes it look creepy. And then another thing that I'm going to do is add a gradient map. And I'm going to reverse this and kind of give it, yeah, that little thing. There we go, that kind of vibe. And I'm going to grab my gradient tool here with my black selected. On here, I've also made sure that I'm on the gradient here that has just like the black or the color that I have selected fading to transparent. And I can kind of come in here and add back just a teeny tiny bit of that blue. So I'm kind of giving it like a desaturated look up at the corner here and adding just a teeny tiny bit more of that blue into the side there. And you can kind of do this however you like. I'm going to change the opacity just so that I can get a little bit more of that blue peeking through, but I pretty much like that. And it doesn't look exactly the way that I've done this nighttime one. This one has like a lot more blue in it. It's up to you how you want to edit it, but I did want to kind of briefly show how I did that so that you guys can do that to any other images that you want to do. So I'm going to group this. And I am going to use my original image. And then what I have done is I actually brought in an image of a person because I wanted to make like a pretty nice silhouette. I brought in an image of a person, which I'm actually going to post a link to you folks for this in the Discord because I realized that I kind of decided that I wanted to use this image instead of kind of freehanding my own silhouette. So I'm going to post this in here. Kira, this is awesome, by the way. What I did was I used this image, which is a free download, so you folks can get the image, and I can also show off the artist here, Rainer, to make sure that I give proper credit. I pulled that image in and like this. I'm going to show you. And what I did was, I'm going to hit enter. I grabbed my object selection tool and I drug a little box around like so and just got this portion of the image. Hit Control J to duplicate that. And then I'm also going to grab my paint bucket and put a solid color back here just so that you folks can see what I am doing with this. It's very, very simple and it doesn't have to be super highly detailed. So I grabbed that portion of the image, I hit Control U and turn this all the way down, turn the lightness all the way down so it's black. And then what I did is I literally took my stylus on an eraser, and if you don't have a stylus, you can still do this with a mouse or with selection tools if you like. And I actually just created my own silhouette like this. And I just like pulled out some more of this kind of shape. I just like made him a little bit longer. I made his arm a little bit longer, and I transformed this into just like the silhouette of a person, you know, to be positioned in our window. And it was really easy. I just wanted to make sure that I got like a relatively anatomically correct shape of a person without having to spend too much time. So that's what I did. And you folks can do that too if you would like. So I'm going to group those together and I'm going to hide it because I'm just going to use this one that I used earlier. Now we're going to put this guy that I have, you can't really see him very well because he is jet black here in the scene, but we're going to put him into one of these windows and make it look extra creepy. And the way that I'm going to do that first is with a nice kind of contrast of spooky colors. And I'm going to do that with like a bright kind of creepy red color. So I am going to come over here to my lasso tool. I'm going to right click. And I'm going to select my polygonal lasso tool. If you don't see the polygonal lasso tool, it is because it's in that other little hidey menu there, which all you have to do is right click and you can select whichever things you like from basically any tool that has that little triangle in the corner there has other tools for you to choose from. So I'm going to select the polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to come over here to the layer of my house. I'm going to make a new layer with Control Shift in, and I'm going to select this main window here. And the polygonal lasso tool is great because I can come down here and select basically this whole entire thing very accurately, especially since, you know, the window has some nice kind of hard angles. And I can come in here, I can select everything that I want. I'm just clicking around to get this nice selection, and I'm going to fill it with my red color. I'm going to hold Alt because I also am going to remove this portion right here because I want to make sure that we still have this kind of bisect area through that window. And then another thing that I want to do is also select these little pieces here. And I may be able to get away with grabbing my rectangular marquee tool, holding Shift to add, yep, and I can just drag these shapes here to kind of select these, the parts of the window through the rungs here. Just like so. And it's pretty quick and easy to do the selection this way. All right, so I've got that, and then I'm going to grab my marquee tool one more time, and I am going to cut kind of the edges of this off just to make sure it has that nice slant that it's supposed to have. There we go. I'm going to do the same thing here, just to kind of even everything out. And then I'm going to grab my my paint bucket. I'm going to grab this like really saturated creepy red here, like so. And we're gonna make it look like there's kind of a creepy color light coming from this window. I'm gonna deselect, and I'm going to kind of experiment actually with some blending modes. So I can come through here and I can preview. I actually like this lighten. I may leave it on lighten. And then on my layer of my actual nighttime scene, I'm going to, you can either make a new layer or you can paint directly on this layer, or you can use a stamp tool. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a stamp tool on this. And I'm going to grab some of these elements here that I do not want showing in my scene, and I'm just going to bump them away. Let's see, there we go, because I just don't want that to show. Boom, so we have our kind of creepy color, and if we want to, we could even kind of add some glow around here. And I'm going to grab my man that I have created. I'm also going to right click this and convert it to a smart object, because I am going to resize this a little bit. And I want to make sure that I have it where I can kind of resize and stuff at my leisure. All right, there we go. Kind of place him in here like that. All right. And he's not long enough. So I'm going to fix that by simply grabbing my rectangular marquee, and I'm literally just going to kind of drag this down so that the view of him, like the shape of him, extends down to, I'm going to rasterize so that I can add to this, just extends downward. And I can noodle with this, I can add some more details, but the point of this is that he doesn't have to look super detailed because when we zoom out, you know, it's just going to be like that, which is looking creepy and cool already. And then the last thing I want to do is make sure that you can't see him around the edges of all of these things. So you remember I selected everything in order to make my window bright. So I have that shape already of what he's supposed to fit into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Control and click that layer of the selection that I made. And then with my man layer, my silhouette layer selected, I'm going to apply a mask. And then it looks like he's standing inside the house because he is kind of like just kind of shaped around all of these things. And then when I zoom out, it looks like there is a creepy watcher in the window in the top floor of the hillside manor. And it's actually not that hard to do. It's actually a kind of a very simple thing, but I think that if you keep in mind like interesting colors that work well together, and if you keep in mind kind of the basic techniques for like changing the colors of photos and editing subtle things like that, really small tricks can actually go a long way to making kind of a cool scene and telling a little bit of a story. So this is the watcher in the window. Like I said, I could also make another layer, Control Shift in. I will actually name this one. I'll call this one Glow. And what I could do if I wanted is grab my brush, put it on like the standard soft round, and grab some red, and I could come in here, I'm gonna hit 4 on my keyboard to set it to 40% opacity, and I could come in and add some glow and play with some blending modes to kind of get this, that actually looks cool, to get this red color kind of coming out of the window here. That looks awesome, actually. I actually really like this. I may turn it down just slightly, but it's looking pretty neat. So I urge all of you guys to try this out for yourselves and see how you like it. I am coming to a close here, and I can't spend any more time on it, but I hope that you folks enjoyed this nifty tutorial on how to create a spooky watcher in the window. Tomorrow we're going to be working with the same image, but we're going to be adding some even creepier, stranger effects to it, and it's going to culminate into Friday creating like a whole scary scene centered around this image, which I cannot wait to dive into a little bit more. So thank you all for joining me. You are all wonderful. Please follow that link that Sam has posted. Register for the challenges so you get your updates. It's pure black magic. Yes, Janet, that's what I like to hear. You guys are wonderful, and I will see you tomorrow morning for another challenge. Adios, everyone.